What's going on, guys? I hope you guys are well. Guys, I've been seeing this Terence Crawford beef with Errol Spence, and it's been kicking off. They've been kicking off. Terence Crawford ain't happy. Terence Crawford says that Errol Spence ducked him. He ducked 25 million guarantee. I don't know what you guys make of this, but Terence Crawford wasn't happy. He said, Errol, you ain't your own boss. You ain't your own boss. You have to answer to Al. And he goes, I spoke to Al, and Al said, I'm not letting this fight go on. Now, Terence Crawford has flipped this whole situation on its head when people started thinking that maybe it is him that is ducking this fight. I think doing that live and clearing the air, I think it clearly shows that Terence Crawford maybe was in the right. But the thing is, I always see Spence's side of the story, then I change my mind, then I see Crawford's side. The fact is that we're not getting the fight, and that's what's the hurtful thing to the fans. I do think that Crawford probably isn't lying about the 25 million, that he probably did have a company, but I do think that Errol Spence and these guys, Jamal Charlo's, try to make out that they're their own boss when really they're not. They're controlled by Al Heyman. Al Heyman does a lot of their work, does a lot of their business for them. But the point I'm trying to make is that we want to see this fight. We're boxing fans and we want to see the fight, and we're not getting the fight. It's disappointing hearing these guys. And Terence Crawford recently said, I don't think the fight will happen because I'm kind of over that now. I'm kind of over that point. And if this is true and Spence and Crawford were offered 25 million guarantee and Spence has turned that down, I mean, that's not a good look on Spence. Let's be brutally honest. That's not a good look on Spence at all. Because to be honest, that's a fight that a lot of people want to see. And the fact that that's been turned down, or however you want to look at it, I mean, it's just not a good look as far as I'm concerned. I think the fight should have happened. And if it was that kind of money, I mean, you have to question Errol Spence why, if he calls himself his own boss, why he would not accept that. I mean, he'll probably really come out with something that will change the whole storyline and make it look like he was the one that. But at the end of the day, I think I'm sick to the death now of just like going back and seeing what Crawford said. I just want the fight, and I echo a lot of fans' opinion that we just want to see the fight between Crawford and Spence. I think we're sick of it now. We've got past that point where we really care about, who was in the right, who was in the wrong. We just want to see the fight. And unfortunately for us, is this fight is I don't know if this fight's ever going to happen, to be honest with you. I don't know whether they're on the same page. I think Errol Spence obviously has a very high inflated opinion about himself. Crawford's not willing to take, a second. He's not willing to backtrack. Now, Crawford also said that he basically was willing to take no guarantee. He said he was willing to get, what by them, just to make the fight. So Crawford was making out like he was willing to make the fight at his own expense and being made to get ripped off to make the fight, and he had no problem with that. But those guys just didn't want to make the fight, and they were making it difficult. And I did say that in a previous video, that I think they were trying to make it difficult. And I do think it's Errol Spence is the one that's the problem here. I don't think Crawford is the one that's not wanting the fight. Crawford wants to fight Spence. I don't think Crawford has a problem, because Crawford said that I know I'm gonna beat this guy, that I'm willing to take the short end of the stick. But Crawford said, I had a company that was willing to pay this guy 25 million. Now, I personally think that he's not lying. I think there's probably people out there that would be willing to pay that for this fight. But the problem is that Errol Spence maybe wants it on his control. Maybe Al Heyman wouldn't allow that as well. Because remember, Al Heyman's the main guy. I mean, Al Heyman wouldn't want this fight to be going on the platform. But they were making it very difficult for Crawford. And it makes them look bad, because Crawford's ended up getting 10 million quid. 10 million quid to fight Avanesian. So it makes PBC look bad, because Crawford's laughing now because he's now got 10 million to fight David Avanesian, which a lot of people think is an easy fight for him. So effective, people are saying Avanesian is a tune-up fight for a Crawford, which relatively is. I mean, Crawford should destroy Avanesian's an okay fighter, but not for Crawford. I mean, Crawford should dispatch him, and dispatch him in style. I mean, this is a thing that Crawford's got such a big payday. I mean, you can't really blame him, because he's probably fed up and he's probably thinking, I ain't turning down 10 million to fight David Avanesian. I mean, he's making a lot of money for that fight. So, I don't blame him. I don't blame him at all. I mean, you've got to give respect. Crawford's just got a massive payday against a fight which he's gonna win. So I don't blame Terence Crawford. I mean, I don't think anyone can. I think he's probably sick to, like, there's a lot of people out there that are blaming Errol Spence for this now. Errol Spence clearly, I mean, at this point, it's not a good look. If that is true, right, that he turned down 25 million, it makes Errol Spence look so bad. I mean, it does. Like, to say that he turned down 25 million, whatever it was, I mean, the point is that Errol Spence isn't his own boss, and neither was Deontay Wilder, hence why they weren't able to make the Joshua fight. I mean, Deontay Wilder wasn't able to take the DAZN deal because, effectively, Al Heyman plays a big part in their careers, which is fair enough. Al Heyman's a very well respected guy. He's done a lot for his fighters. They respect him, and he pays his fighters a lot. He pays his fighters a lot of money, and that's why they never speak out about Al Heyman. They always have good things to say about Heyman, because if someone's taking care of you and someone's paying you well, why would you disrespect them? Why would you disrespect them? That's why you never really see Al Heyman get disrespected, because all his fighters are getting paid well. They're getting treated well. I personally think that I personally think that Al Heyman takes care of his fighters, and all of his fighters are top fighters, especially, are made a lot of money. But at the end of the day, as boxing fans, when you hear Terence Crawford say that, we're getting, they were trying to mess me around, twist that, the other, they didn't do that with Canelo because they knew the kind of value Canelo could bring, but they know Crawford doesn't bring too much value. So effectively, unless he signs with them, I don't know what problem Crawford has with signing with them. And the problem is they don't want to give him a massive guarantee, and potentially they may make a loss unless they're benefiting from Crawford in the next couple of years of his career. So they probably want Crawford to sign with them so they can benefit from Terence Crawford, which is understandable. I don't know why Crawford would have such a big issue with that, but at the same time, look, I like to see Crawford fight Spence, Thurman. I personally think they're going to make the Errol Spence and Keith Thurman fight now. I think I think what they'll look to do is try to make that fight and say, look, see, Errol is taking on tough challenges while Crawford is taking on these D-level fighters. That's what they're going to say. They're going to say, and they're going to make out the Thurman Spence fight is a massive fight. But we all know that the reason why that fight is happening is because he's not fighting, look, they want to fight. Terence Crawford wants to fight Errol Spence. I think anyone can see that now. Anyone can see that Terence Crawford wants to fight Errol Spence. It's not necessarily Terence Crawford's fault here. Terence Crawford wants this fight. I'm just frustrated. As a boxing fan, I'm so frustrated with this fight. I'm so frustrated. I'm sick. I'm tired of talking about it. I don't know how many videos I've done about it, but I'm got to the point where it doesn't seem like anything's moving. It doesn't seem like we're gonna get this fight. It doesn't seem like we're gonna get anything here. So I don't know. I hope we can get the fight, but it doesn't seem like it. It doesn't seem like we're gonna get this fight. It doesn't seem like this is gonna happen, to be brutally honest with you. So yeah, it's disappointing for me. It's disappointing for me as a fan of boxing. It's demoralizing. It's definitely demoralizing, because this is a fight that I've wanted for a very long time, because I know it's a great fight. I know it's a fight that would excite us all, but unfortunately, it's just frustrating. It's frustrating. What can I say? I mean, it's just got to the point where it's kind of like we're just going over the same stuff. But when are we actually going to get this fight? I don't know. I don't know when we're actually going to get this fight. I don't know whether we're ever going to get the fight, because these guys just doesn't seem like they're ever going to get down to the nitty gritty and make the fight. That's just my opinion. But hopefully, in the future, Terence Crawford looks like he's moved on, and he's talking about this fight's never going to happen, which is not what we want to hear. That just makes us, as boxing fans, that really upsets us even more. But you know, he's the fighter and he's got frustrated and he's thinking he's moving on with his career and fighting the guys that he wants to fight. So fair play to him. But what do you guys think? Terence Crawford, Errol Spence, leave your thoughts. Let me know what you think in the comment section below, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace out, guys.